everybody. Happy Monday. Thank you so much for hopping on to join us for a very special guest speaker. I'm so excited for you to hear her story. I met Jennifer on the cruise. It was her first Emerald Extravaganza, which was so exciting. And we met, so my husband and I, it was our first like excursion, and we were, I forget even where it was, somewhere in Alaska. And we wanted to take the bus, but we had never done like, we were so like out of our element. And we had no idea what we were doing. You had to have cash to get on the bus, and then the bus was about to leave. And so Jennifer and her husband gave us money to get on the bus to get to where we needed to go for our hike. And that's how we met them. They're just so sweet. They're so fun to talk to. We loved just getting to connect with them and learn a little bit about them. And when she told me that she joined in 2022, right, Jennifer? Was it 2022? I loved that because she's a newer, like that's 3 years, and not even like she's been Emerald for a while. And so because she went Emerald last year, and then but it was like after the cutoff to go on the trip, so she went on this trip. And that just made me so excited for her to share her story. So I was like, please share with my team. And she so generously offered her time. So thank you so much, Jennifer, for hopping on. It's going to be kind of an interview style. I have a list of questions I sent over to her, and I'm asked, and she's going to answer. If we have time at the end, we'll do a quick Q&A. So write down, if a question comes to mind, save that for the end, and we're going to get started. So the very first thing I always like to ask is, Jennifer, like, why did you even start Plexus?
Okay, thank you. Well, also I want to say we loved meeting you and your husband, and it was so fun to keep bumping into you all over Alaska. So that was great. And I loved picking your brain and asking you all kinds of questions, and I could have more. But anyway, so why did I start? I wasn't having any health issues, but my friend Marion, I knew she was doing something. And so one day at lunch, I was like, I want to, try want to do what you're doing, whatever that stuff is. And so she helped me order, and I was trying it. And so I wasn't really looking for any results, which is different than a lot of people maybe. I thought I was doing okay, but actually realized that I was having some perimenopause type symptoms. So um, I started sleeping better and had more energy. I had always been tired before that and just felt so much better. But I wasn't really looking for it. So that's what made it feel different. And then when I added in reset, I ended up losing some of that extra, hormone weight that likes to hang on. And I just felt so much better. So that was kind of how I got started on the health side of it.
Yeah, I love that. And did you see her posting about it, or did she reach out to you? Like, how did that?
I was not on Facebook hardly at all, but we would meet together in person. And she never really, I think she gave me an active sample one time and I tried it and I was like, yeah, whatever. But somehow, like, she would talk about her business and what she did. And one day I just said, I want to try that, whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah, okay. I love that word of mouth. And then, so then what made you decide to start sharing? Because you said, I think it was 9 months of taking the products before you started the business. Okay,
Yes.
so what made you decide to do that and grow your business?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think it was more just that I felt so great, and she just kept inviting me to things. That was the thing too. She just kept inviting me to all these different events with no pressure whatsoever. And I just like her and I wanted to be with her, so I just kept going. And I definitely was a slow starter. It was funny because I had maybe my mom and my husband, and she kept saying, like, you just need one more, you just need one more. But I had no sense of urgency. It was not a priority for me. So I totally understand when other people are getting started that they're not on that same timeline as us. They're just ready when they're ready. So I did, I kind of baby stepped into it. And then when I saw just the potential in the big picture, I definitely, it became more of a priority.
Yeah, I love that. So she was just your friend, like just a real person, your friend, and then she just kept inviting you to things. Like so simple. So like just really good customer care, it sounds like. Um,
Mhm.
so so you were in Plexus 9 months, and then from the time you started sharing to the time you went Emerald, how long was that?
That was 2 years.
2 years. Okay, and then what
Mhm.
was your timeline? What did that look like of like When did you rank to silver? See, like all those ranks, what was your timeline of that all the way to emerald?
I really don't remember it that well. I'm not good with those kind of details. But it was a slow start, and it was just me stretching out of my comfort zone, being okay with hearing a no. Um, I just kind of saw a bigger vision, and I would start to do more and more of what my sponsor was telling me to do. And then I did have my sister-in-law come on board, and she was a go-getter, and she was taking off with this. So that sort of got my attention, and I was like, I guess we're doing this. So that was a huge part of it as well. And then I found some other people who wanted to do it too, and went from there.
Yeah, so good. And I forgot to mention that Jennifer, she has 4 kids and they're all like in their teenage years, which I really love because I feel like there's kind of we have like we have a lot of like young moms on our team with like the babies, and then we have like the older, but she's kind of in the middle-ish, like of like all they're still at home, but they're all teenagers. And so I love that we have that because there's some of you who can relate so much more to her story than versus like me with my baby and all that. And so, okay, so your timeline, oh, I had a question I was going to ask that wasn't in the list that I gave you. It popped in my head and now I can't remember it. But, oh, yes. So when you did start sharing, because you had mentioned you weren't on Facebook really at all or a lot. Did you just, how did you start? Is that how you started building, was through Facebook, or did you do an in-person event? Like, what did that kind of look like for you? Because you did mention you like in person better.
Yeah, I do like in person better. Um, I did gradually realize there is value in the social media part, but really what worked best for me was just reconnecting with old friends, reaching out to people, past relationships. And I've been doing this for a while now, and I keep thinking, well, I've talked to everyone I know, but every once in a while, someone else will pop into my head like, oh, I remember from that. So I mean, I do put things out there on social media, but I don't really have people coming to me that much. It's more the people that I'm reaching out to, and they're seeing my storefront is open and I'm still doing this. So it just sort of all works together.
It's so important. I love that you said that because like your storefront is open. Like your posting brings validation to your messaging. So key, like to be the one to make that move. And I love that. So on your road to Emerald, what would you say your biggest hurdle was of getting to that rank?
Mhm. Um, Definitely being more reserved and private. I really didn't like putting myself out there. But the more I saw how it was helping other people, I had to just get over that, and be okay with it. And I also saw the vision for the future. I knew I was going to be able to impact a lot of people and be able to come alongside, and I viewed it as a ministry at some point. I saw ahead to the future. Um, I'm trying to remember. Oh, hurdle. Um, there was a while where I had an issue with outside leg points because my sister-in-law was taken off, and I was like really trying to keep up. And then that wasn't a struggle anymore. I think mostly just stepping out of my comfort zone and being willing to do the hard things. And I kept asking my sponsor, what do I need to do? What should I do next? And I really did pretty much everything she recommended, and it worked.
So coachable. That is so good. Like, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Like, she's been just like having that humble like attitude of like, you've done doing this longer than I have. What can I do better? And so I love that so much. Um, and I think a lot of us relate to that because I know I'm introverted and it's hard to put yourself out there and do the bold things, talk to people. Gotta talk to people in this business. That's all there is to it. Um, okay, so the last question on the list was what would you tell these ladies? Because they're all going for Emerald. Some of them are getting really close. But what are your top 3 tips for someone, or top 3 tips? Like you went Emerald, like what are your top 3 tips for someone who wants to be where you are on how to get there?
Mhm. Okay, good. Trying to remember, what did I even write down? I feel like a lot of the things are the same as they would be at any level. You just keep on doing it for a longer amount of time. One thing that's really important to me is to focus on people and relationships. And sometimes I wasn't sure if it would work out, but I wanted to do it that way anyway. You know what I mean? And when you really invest in people and they can tell you really want to help them, I feel like the points will catch up. And that's just my plan, to keep on going and hoping that it'll work that way still. So that's one. The other thing is kind of think like a leader. Think about the long term and what's sustainable. And yes, we have to push at certain times, but how can I do this in a way that I'm able to sustain it long term and I won't burn out? And then also, I'm not just looking for quick points. I'm looking for long term, how I can help people the best. And I just feel like that's important. And then the other thing is just balancing out, like as your team grows, you all know, because you're at that point, you could spend so much time helping everyone else, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there was a point where I wasn't really doing my own personal part, and it sort of started to show. And coaching with, we have some coaching. And when I coached with Reed Fletcher, he just got me to realize, like, oh, I really need to get my personal enrollments and my personal work done. Christina Williams says it too. You do that first. And what it does is it is a good example and it leads the way for your team. And then it's really neat to see how you have more confidence in yourself and they have more respect for you. So that is something that I didn't always do a good job at, but I realized that's important for me to focus on doing that and then helping them as well. And actually, it's the best way you can help them because you're showing them what to do. So those are my top
Yeah,
tips.
so, so good. Like, I remember you said that on the cruise of I just remember thinking that's so wise of thinking like long-term vision of how should I work my business now that I can be sustainable so I'm not burnt out. And I was like, okay, I really like this girl. So, so wise. And thank you so much. It was just so good. I would love if you are okay, if we open it up for a few questions. Did anyone have any like listen to her story, anything pop up? They're like, I have to know the answer to this. Now's your time.
I have a question, Jennifer. Ooh.
Sure.
Okay, you mentioned you like to do a lot of things in person. Most of my team was built on social. I'm a Sapphire under Joanna. And
Okay.
but I would love to hear because I moved to Oregon and I don't have my like life network out here. And so did you do events or was it just more like people that you already previously knew before Plexus, like college life, family members, or did you actually have like in town events or in your home? Like was that part of your story at all?
It was kind of a combination of those. So, yes, some of my customers are far away, but I'd say probably all my builders are here. So I get together with them for coffee or for walks, or even if they're not really doing much, I want them to know I care about them. And then when you're in person, you can talk about things in such a different way. And so many things come up that you might not have messaged them. Um, and then maybe, having a work with me meeting for coffee with people. I actually would like to start doing that regularly so that my team knows I'm going to be at this coffee shop every Friday, whatever, at 11. So I'm working on that because when they come out, I just can answer different questions that they might not ask me. And then the other thing is whatever you call them, a sip and see, or, everyone calls them something different. But that is my favorite event that I love to have for anyone on the team who will have me. Like I love to fill up my calendar with it, no matter what level they are. So I'll just kind of get in there and be like, hey, this is what I love to do. Can I come out and do this for you? Have one for you. So that's kind of one of my favorite things. So a combination, I would say, of in person.
Love that. Thank you.
So good. Anyone else have a question? Do you host those events that when you do the sippies, do you do that in their house?
Yes. I'll go to them. I take everything with me. And that was something Marion had modeled for me. And I did it. She did it for me. Then I did some with her. And then I was like, I could do this. I know how to do this. And so it's because I wasn't always great at a lot of those other things. This was one way I felt like I could serve my team. And so it just kind of became my thing. So kind of leaning into your strengths and not worrying about what you're not as good at, you know.
Yes.
Someone's asking about vendor events. I haven't done any. There are a few people on my team that have. Um, the only thing I tell them is you really have to figure out if it's worth your time, if you have to pay to have a table. I mean, I had a lady that had a few of them, and out of like maybe 25 people interested, one did end up ordering, but she's not really hearing back from the rest. So I think maybe it depends on the area or what kind of event it is. Um, and someone's asking about the sip and see. Obviously, ask your sponsor or your, you know, whoever you work with, because maybe they would recommend something different. But what Marion had always done is we mainly just show the triplex and show the reset because those are the two most popular products. And then we just mix up and let them try the flavors of Slim and some active and hydrate as well. And then you wouldn't have to do this, but if they order that evening, they get some kind of a free gift. And so we'll have events where someone goes silver in one night. That's my favorite when it works out that way, you know. Oh, the other thing about that is you can kind of sprinkle in little bits of things about the business just in a casual way that might not have come up otherwise, you know. So I haven't really been looking at all the questions in the
Oh,
comments. I
that's
don't know.
okay. I'll read the next one for you. Kayla asks, do you think that signing someone from an in-person event helps with retention? Do they seem more reliable?
What I love about it is when I go have an event for whatever, my friend Diane, I've connected with her friends that are there. And then I can either ask her, how's it going with Melissa? Or, you know, friend request Melissa and say, hey, Melissa, how's it going? You know, so I kind of feel like I have a much better connection with them. As far as more reliable, meaning do they stick around longer? Maybe because they get to know me and trust me in a different way. So I really do love that.
So good. Any other questions, Joelle? We have like 2 more minutes.
I have a question. You were talking about sustainability and things before. I'm having a really hard time with that. Like, I have people that order one time and then they won't order again ever, and then they don't even want to
Mm,
talk about it. But like when they first start taking it, they're like, this stuff makes me feel so good, and I already am seeing benefits from it and all this other stuff. And it's like halfway through the month, they're like, they turn off their subscription, or they're like, I don't really think I'm gonna keep doing this or whatever. And I'm like,
mm.
trying to talk them into like continuing to stay on it long term. And I'm like, but don't you like feeling better? And they're like, yeah, and I'm like, I don't know I don't know where to go from there.
Okay. Well, first, what I meant was like sustainable for me. Like, what is a workload or keeping my margins like that? That's what I meant. But as far as retention, I mean, there are some things you can do, but not everyone's going to stick with it. You have to just be okay with that. But I do have like personal friend customers that have dropped off and come back again later because I kept that relationship good. I never made them feel bad about that. I always was like, hey, thank you so much for being willing to try it or for supporting me. Or if you ever want to come back again, I'm here, you know? So don't burn any bridges, keep it good and open and positive. Um, but when you've tried a couple things, you're not going to change their mind. You know what I mean? So you're here if they want it. And you just keep on going and finding more people.
Thank you.
Love that. I feel like Lexi on this call, she's here. She's such a good example of that because she was a customer of mine and then she loved it. And then she just life happened and she just stopped and like eventually she came back and she is going towards Ruby. And she's so fun to work with. And so yeah, you just never give up on people. All right, y'all, one more question. Anybody have one more to ask? And I think we went through the ones in the comments. So
Well, Joanna, I just want to say I loved talking with you so much. I wish I was on your team, but anyway, so
Oh, it's so sweet.
you guys have a gem, and I hope that you appreciate her and know how great she is. And I don't know what all the dynamics of who all is on here, but I really feel like we have such an opportunity to reach so many people in a different way, to come alongside them and do life with them. And you know what I mean? So when we keep the focus about others, then we don't let ourselves get down by a no or by someone stopping or whatever. You remind yourself of the wins that you've had, and the wins that you'll have in the future. And I remember just picturing someone thanking me for helping them in their health, or I imagine someone's marriage getting better, or their parenting, or whatever, you know? And so I feel like that is really what we do.
Oh, so good. Like, I feel like that's the perfect wrap for this call of just keeping others first, and the focus on serving. So good. Thank you, Jennifer, so much. So appreciate you. And thanks y'all for hopping on. Have a great night. Bye.